Hello. Right. So you know quite a bit about me now and my family, ish. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of background now towards my rest of my family, especially my mum, dad, and my sister. Before we get on to the nitty gritty stuff. So, as you know, my dad was adopted. He spent a lot of his time growing up in between London and Wales. He had a lot of adopted families, or family, I should say, members up in Wales. Literally no more than about a mile away from where they live now, which was a bit bizarre when you think about it. We used to actually go down and see them. I think we went down to see them quite a bit as well as we were growing up. Hetty, I think Hetty was one of them. Could be wrong. I normally am. But as he got older, he went to school, moved around, and then he moved on to what was big in the days then, was an apprenticeship in London. I think it was in London anyway. Yeah, it was an apprenticeship in London, engineering. I know he wanted to become a train driver. But I think his eyesight wouldn't let him or something. I think he applied for it, but he never got to it. And things, as they say, were changing big time in London. Massive in London. My dad tried getting him into the mod scene, the mods and rockers, and my dad decided to be a bit of a mod. Trouble was his mum wouldn't allow him to have a scooter. Which is funny. He must have been one of the only hardcore mods not to have a scooter, which I think was quite funny. I think he was a bit gutted about that, in all honesty. I know one of his first cars, I seen a picture of it, and I said, like, Dad, what's that car? And it was a Mark 1 Cortina he had. I think it was a Mark 1 Cortina. No, Mark 1 Capri. Mark 1 Capri, sorry, had tail fins and stuff on it. It was an amazing car. He insisted it was his. I'm not quite sure if it was, but it was an amazing car to look at. He always worked hard, my dad, and still does for a matter of that. Even in his age now, he doesn't stop. He loves working. And as I said, like most kids have pop stars or sports idols. I had my dad, and who wouldn't want to be him, basically. He was awesome. My mum, as you know, is Irish, so she came from Ireland. One of 6 children, as you know, Roman Catholic, yeah, as you know. She had a bit more of a, I think, harsher upbringing than my dad. No electricity, no running water, convent education, being beaten up by nuns every day just for looking wrong, having to cross the road when they were growing up. If they knew someone was coming towards them who wasn't a Catholic, literally they had to cross the road. How bizarre is that? And if they were seen talking to someone who wasn't Roman Catholic, they'd get beaten for it. How mad is that? How mad? There we go. But at the age of 18, she moved to London. And I think she became a secretary for the Lucasade company. The Lucasade drinks, which is still going. I think when you go to London now, if you approach London on the M4 now, as you approach go into London, I think you've still got the original Lucasade building there. It still says Lucasade on the side of it. That's where my mum used to work. She used to live in a dormitory with her friends. So when she was living in London, obviously she met my non-scooter owning dad. And the rest, they say, is pretty much history, really. They were married in 1966. 1966, so my dad was a grand old age of 21 when he got married. I believe. I could be wrong. I've been saying that a lot lately. I'm making things up. No, I'm pretty sure they were married in 1966. And then 2 years later, in 68, my sister was born, Claire. So I've got to be right on that one. Shortly afterwards, then, they decided to make the big move and get up to Wales. And they moved to Wales then, where a few years later, I would be born myself. And bizarrely, they are still living in exactly the same house today than they did all those years back. Exactly the same house. It's gone through major changes. It's a bit mad. When they moved up to Wales, my mum used to work down in the local garage. She had a few other jobs, as I said before, camera shop and evening shifts down a garage. Sometimes I used to be bored, and she used to allow me to go down and sit in her boss's office in a garage, mess around and draw things on the boards and stuff like that. She used to let me not count up for money at the end of shifts, but certain times of day, money used to have to come out till I'm going these little brown, little grey tubes. They look like toilet rolls with lids on, basically. And I was allowed to put the lid on, put a sticker on the front, and pop them down a hole, which was in the floor, because the safe was in the floor of the garage, and pop it down a tube, and that's where the money went. So I was allowed to do that. Exciting stuff, isn't it? Oh, the life I led. It was better as well after a time, because she, not her personally, the garage started renting videos. So I was allowed to pick a video now and again. Go down there, get a video, free of charge. Take it home, because we were one of the posh families, because we had a video recorder. Oh yes, we did. So she used to do that and allow me to do that as well on my days off. My dad, he got an engineering job in Cardiff. I can't remember the company. I think it was something like Fawn EMI Engineering, something along those lines. I remember once as well, he was working there, and they had to take a job. He took a job over RAF Brawdy, which is over in West Wales. And he went down the back of his motorbike with his mate. Because, he could. Excuse me for a second. Sorry, something popped up on the computer. I had to get rid of it. Anyway, he went down on his motorbike and stuff like that, and he put all the central heating of the big cast iron radiators in all the accommodation blocks there. I went there several years later, when I was with the Air Cadets, which you'll hear about later. I remember having great fun going in for it, pointing all these pipes and radiators and saying to my mates, like, yeah, my dad done these, my dad fit all these, because my dad's awesome. I don't think they were actually that impressed, really, but I liked it. I know then, fortunately, the company he worked for either closed down or was making redundancies. So my dad left, and he took the big decision to become self-employed. He became a self-employed plumber. And when we were walking around, we used to walk around the estates in the area, posting leaflets through the doors, which he had photocopied off, probably down the garage, get it for free. It went really slow to begin with, it did. But I think as time went on and people got to know that he was a good plumber and he wasn't ripping people off, he got more well known, and the work flowed quite nicely. He still does it now. Not as much as he would like, I don't think, but he still does it. Which is pretty cool. My sister, my one and only sister, Claire. It is. She was cool. She was good. She was. And I've gone off on a tangent. Stop.